What's up, y'all? Let's continue talking about the Otis Williams book, The Temptations, with Patricia Rome. Um, so we'll recap because I didn't have to do this video for like 9 times. So Otis talks about his relationship with his mother's mother, Grandma Lucinda, and how he said both of his grandmothers were Baptists and they believed in homemade remedies. And that Otis said when he was a child he had asthma, and that Grandma Lucinda, when they was in Detroit, when he got older, took him by a tree and marked his height so he could grow older. And she basically said, "You're gonna grow older and you're gonna grow taller as as this tree and the asthma is gonna come out of you. You're gonna no longer have asthma." Otis said it worked. He no longer had asthma. Here we go. My mother's father, Frank Fisher, who also cared for me, grew up in New Orleans and was full of tales about bizarre occurrences, superstitions, and maybe a little bit of voodoo. My grandmothers knew and spoke of the powers various herbs and mixtures had, and what really stuck in my mind was their talk about how a woman could put stuff in a man's food to make him love her, voodoo, or mix something up else to get back at him, voodoo. If that wasn't bad enough, a really determined woman could fix a guy for good. If she could just get a piece of his clothing or a few strands of his hair, my cousin Dolores, I, and a few other cousins listened to this for hours, fascinated and scared out of our wits. Okay, if I'm reading a little too fast, y'all know, so y'all can slow it down. My grandparents were very matter of fact about it. My grandparents were very matter of fact about it. I'm doing that so if you didn't hear, well, it made it sound like all women knew this stuff. Years later, I learned that I wasn't the only man of my generation and background who'd heard those tales. During the 60s, one of the temps made it a point to never leave any of his hair behind in a hotel sink or tub for fear that a maid might get a hold of it and do something to him. Another time during the late 60s, Another time during the late 60s, a young woman who was in love with one of our road managers told me that she would work some shit on him. Oh my God. And assured me that if she couldn't do it herself, she knew people who could. See, these people go crazy. What Deborah Cox said? Love will make you do some crazy things. How did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be here. Yeah. I mean, back then, you gonna do something to somebody because they don't want to be with you? Okay? For these and many other reasons, I made it a point to never underestimate any woman. Otis Stubble, fucking underestimated Josephine. We'll talk about her later. Whether it's real or not, looking back, I think one of my childhood. Whether it's real or not, looking back, I think of my childhood home as a place where the unusual was accepted. Strange, strange things happen down there. You know why strange things happen in the South? Because the slaves were doing voodoo. If you do research, another history lesson, y'all don't know this. If you do research, voodoo started from slaves to fight back, to get the power to fight back against their masters. Now, Slavery was in the South. And Paul, do y'all man? It was slavery. Forgive me. It was slavery. I told you I had these tongue twisters sometimes. There were slaves in Maryland. So I wonder if it was slaves somewhere else because Maryland is not the South. Well, right, Maryland is not the South; it's the North. Right. Oh, yeah. Anyways, that's besides the point. But that's how voodoo actually started. That's how slaves got their power to fight back against their master. So that's why I'm just assuming, drawing conclusions, why he said the South, Texas, Arkansas, whatever the fuck he grew up, because it's weird, was spooky to him. Strange things happened down there. Our church stood across some railroad tracks, and about 200 yards down the road, right next to the track, was a big old house that all of us kids knew was haunted. In the daytime, we would run across the house, but we dared to get only so close before we worked ourselves into a frenzy, thinking about what was inside. Now, pause. This make me think. So, Tokyo Tony, I'm talking about. Tokyo Tony, she could be funny. Tokyo Tony had told this story one time in a video about when she was about 12 or 13 years old. And if you don't know who Tokyo Tony is, it's Black China Mom. She said when she was about 12 or 13, she was playing with these girls. And they brought, see, it's not funny. She said that she was playing with these girls. And they brought out this Ouija board. And I kind of I remember some of the story. And that something happened. And Tokyo was running down the hill, terrified, back home to her mama. I don't know. You gotta ask her, but I don't remember the story. This is what makes it think of it. We gotta move on. In the daytime, we'd run around the house, but we dared to get only so close before we worked ourselves into a frenzy, thinking about what was inside. In fact, a lot of Percy's turned up there. What is that? Who knows where they came from? Probably bar fights or crimes of passion. But we all imagine the worst. I was walking home from church one evening after dusk. It was quiet. It was quiet except for the sound of mothers calling their kids in for supper. I was in my everyday clothes, rolled up dimming coveralls, coveralls with no shirt underneath and no shoes, strolling along in no hurry, pitching rocks and pulling leaves off of bushes. Oh my god. That used to be fun as a child. I don't know why picking at a tree used to be just stupid. It used to be fun. Like getting a stick, like it was just fun as a child, picking leaves off a tree. Cause I mean, listen, people like literally. Anyways, it was just fun as a child doing shit like that. Like, what else did you used to do as a child? Playing with rocks was another thing. Climbing a tree, yeah, I never could climb a tree. I'm first of all, I'm kind of scared of squirrels. Motherfucker, let me tell you, one time this squirrel stood up. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. Motherfucker gonna bite. I'm gonna die. This squirrel gonna give me rabies. The way he stood up, it was like he was ready for attack. So that's why I never tried to climb a tree. Now hopping a gate, who ain't hopped a gate? But stuff like that would be fun as a child. Strolling along, oh sorry, rolled up denim coveralls. Rolled up denim coveralls with no shirt underneath and no shoes. See, that's country shit. Somebody else said they say that down south you can really walk around with no shoes on. Who was that? I forget. One celebrity said that they kid don't wear like wear don't can't I'm sorry. A celebrity has said they kid don't really wear shoes because they live down south and there's a lot of trees and the grass is just beautiful. But that's a down south thing that they do. They don't like to wear shoes. And to me, it's like, why would I? Who would go outside with no shoes on? Now I see if you go outside with socks on, you're running outside, but no shoes. It's like, and especially because I've grown up in the inner city, the people be littering, they be leaving dog. It's just ugh. But then again, this is the South, so strolling along in no hurry, pitching rocks, pulling leaves off of bushes, and suddenly I heard someone come up on me from behind. Every so often I turned around, but it was pitch black, and there was nothing. Closer to the tracks in the old house, I stopped under a street light, and when I whipped around, right along the out, right along the outer periphery of where the lamp cast its glow, there stood a tall, shadowy figure that looked exactly like a man, but without a head. You know what? That's what a nigga Otis always. That nigga is haunted. He is haunted.